you're just gonna jizz in me and then that's it?
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome in once again. Today I'd like to show you something wildly different, something that I didn't even know existed until just recently. And this is a brand new design by Manganas Steel. Now, the owner, the designer of this knife, Sharif Manganas, he actually has a YouTube channel. You can go check it out. It's under Sharif M, Sherif, and then M for Manganas. And you can see many of the videos where he has talked about the development of this knife over time from its inception to now its release for pre-order. And I was made aware of this by our good mutual friend, Lefty EDC. Kevin sent me a message one day and said, hey, I got a buddy who's getting ready to market a really, really cool new knife design. I've seen it. I've played with it. I think it's great. And I think it would be right up your alley. Would you be interested in checking it out? I'm like, hell yeah, sure. That'd be great. And anything that I can do to help support a fellow knife tuber is also, just icing on the cake. And I wasn't really expecting much out of it. And then it arrived. And I was like, well, isn't that something? Oh boy, that's got a detent on it. May not be the best reverse flicker, but, perfect detent for the flipper tab. So that is a good look at it overall. We're going to get into the TLDW, which is the too long didn't watch segment of the video, where I try to breeze through the high line of the review as quickly as possible, give you the pros, give you the cons, then I'll break down the specs, and then I'll get into my personal thoughts and any story time in the final segment. So here we go. The pros. The first for me is going to be the way that it feels in the hand, the ergonomics. Most of you know, if you've been watching me for any length of time, I wear a large to extra large glove, and it fits my hand just about perfectly. I can get all 4 fingers on there without hanging off the end, and my thumb drops directly onto the thumb ramp, which is nicely jimped. They did a good job on the jimping. It's not too snaggy, doesn't feel like you're resting your thumb on a cheese grater, and it's certainly not smooth at all either. So it's pretty much perfectly jimped, as is the flipper tab. Good jimping on the flipper tab as well. Now this is a pass-around knife. This is one of the prototypes that Sharif has, but he did say that these are going to be identical. There are no further changes from this prototype to the final production. So it's a little bit dirty. Whoever had this before really didn't, they got it dirty and didn't bother to clean it. Oh, that's kind of disgusting. I will do my best to clean it up for whoever happens to get this next, because who wants to send a knife out that looks like that? Okay. Now, the next pro for me is going to be the ease of lock bar access and the milling that's been done on that lock bar. So it's very easy to engage. I don't have to jam my thumb down in between the frame. I can just slide it right off and over, and it's very, very easy to get to. And that's something that more companies should really be focusing on. So it's very, very easy to disengage when you need to. Another pro for me is the fact that it's a bolster lock. I love bolster locks because pretty much everybody loves frame locks, but sometimes you get a frame lock that has some kind of beautiful inlay or some kind of work done on the presentation side, and it's completely blank on the lock side. and it kind of feels like a split personality. I really like having the obverse and reverse being done to look the same. I really, really do appreciate that. Plus, you have the additional stability of having the inlay scale here, which prevents you from overextending the titanium lock bar without the need to add any kind of over travel stop onto the lock bar. And that saves you weight. Not much, not that you're really going to notice the difference of having an over travel bar or not. The next for me is the fact that it's got a harpoon on the blade profile. I really love harpoons. I think they add a bit of aggression to any design. It looks very cool, very slick, very mean. It's a design cue that I've always been attracted to for whatever reason. Hey guys, sorry for the interruption, but I promise I will make this very, very brief. I want to thank those of you that have joined and become channel members. You are helping to support the channel and helping to continue the growth. And if you've been considering supporting the channel in any way, shape, or form, because I do not have channel sponsors, I don't shill anybody's products, I don't get paid for anything, I don't do affiliate links, so everything is completely self-funded. If you'd like to help out and watch the channel grow and get more great content coming your way, please do consider becoming a member. So that keeps it from being boring at all. I mean, it really has a slick, aggressive look. The lines overall have a nice, modern and aggressive look to them. I also like the fact that the frame does dip down right here, so it kind of guides your thumb right up to the thumb ramp. Makes it very, very comfortable. Nice detent on this as well. Another pro for me is the choice that he made with the Fat Carbon Purple Haze Carbon Fiber. I am an enormous fan of Fat Carbon, and I really love the Purple Haze choice as well. And it goes good against the dark bead blasted and stone washed finish. Wait, is it stone washed, or is this just been scratched up really badly? Yeah, it looks like it's got a light stone wash to it. You can see where it's highlighted around the bevel for the chamfer. So yeah, it's also got a light stone wash over the bead blasting. It's nice and flush. The fitment isn't 100% perfect. You can see a small gap there between the scale and the bolster. And I'll be discussing that when I discuss the few cons of this knife. And the major con for me is who made these knives. But and that's one example of why. But they did a great job overall. It feels good. And again, as I mentioned, the action is done very, very nicely. The detent is tuned well. Lock bar tension on here is fantastic. Overall, it's a knife that I have enjoyed playing with over the last week or so that I've had it. It's a really, really slick design. I love the fact that it really doesn't look much like anything else that's out there. And that is a difficult, difficult thing to achieve, especially for a somewhat newer designer like Sharif. Now, I understand that he's had a few designs that he has contributed to other brands that don't have his name on them, and that this is the first time that he actually is co-branding where his name is on the knife itself. And two more things. One is going to be the fact that you've got a very generous sharpening choil here. And the way they've done the plunges, you actually have a fair amount of room to resharpen before you have to worry about creating a little smiley or hammered off squared notch at the heel of the edge. And the price point. You're looking at $275 if you get into the Fat Carbon. There's also going to be a, was it a natural? Yeah, I think it's a natural, like a tan micarta. Y'all know me, I despise micarta. It's just a personal choice, not a fan of it. So I'm really glad that he stepped up with the carbon fiber. And it looks great, feels great. Very good choice. Okay, now let's get into the cons. And I think there's only about two of them. One, there's a lot of exposed hardware. It kind of takes away from the design a little bit. For the most part, I like a very clean design with not too much going on. And with this amount of hardware, it's like you're just staring at screws. So I wish they could have maybe done something different with how they mounted the scales, or blind screwed the clip at least, something. I do like the choice that was made on the pivot, however. It's a single-sided pivot, captured pivot. That's always a good choice. And the other con for me is the fact that it's made by Kaiser. Now, I'm not going to get into it here because I don't want to take away from Sharif's design and Sharif's knife, because I think it's a fantastic knife. I just do not like and will never support anything made by Kaiser. I have discussed this in the past. Many of you know my reasonings for it. But again, I don't want to detract away from this review. Just suffice it to say, I don't like how they have run their business and the things that they have done, especially right before they got hugely popular. And I haven't always been a fan of the way they make their knives. There's always little corners cut here or there, whether it's in the materials or the finishing, or as I showed you here, the fitment of the materials. That little gap right there should not exist. You shouldn't see it. You shouldn't feel it. But again, this is a prototype, so I'm not really all that worried about how it's going to come out for production, because I honestly think with how well they did the prototype, that the production knives are going to be even nicer. Now, let's get into the specs. Let's move this over here. I will flash the specs up here in the corner of the screen, or the side of the screen, fairly quickly. You can pause it if you'd like to. I'm not going to go line by line and hit each and every single one of them, just in order to save time. You are getting into a titanium bolster lock with an overall length of 8.63 inches and a massive 3.7-inch S35VN stainless steel blade. That is a big, big blade. Now, if you want to see a practical comparison to a knife that many people like to carry for EDC, here it is up against the Chavez 229, which is a 3.5-inch blade. So it's not an enormous difference overall or in blade length individually. Just a little bit of a difference. The Caimano is lighter weight. It's also a little bit slimmer. So for the many thousands of you that have a Chavez 229 made by Riot, then you know that the how heavy this is and how thick it is. And to know that this is lighter weight and this is a little bit slimmer, it might be a little bit easier for you to carry. Those that do like carrying a larger knife like this, you're not a thicker, bulkier, beefier knife like this, you're certainly not going to have any problems with this whatsoever. Just keep in mind, it's going to be a little tall when it's folded, so it is going to take up a little bit of room in your pocket. Nothing ridiculous, I don't think, but it is still kind of a broad knife. And the pocket clip, by the way, does work nice. It's not the fanciest pocket clip you've ever seen, but the great thing is it doesn't create any hot spots whatsoever in the hand. So if you are hard using the knife for some reason, you're not just a collector that likes to sit and take pictures for Instagram, then you're going to enjoy the clip placement. It is both effective as a pocket clip and non-obtrusive so that it doesn't create any hot spots. Good job to Sharif on that, because the design of it and the placement of it is very, very important. And it's not that difficult to execute once you get past the rendering stage. You figured out where it's going to be placed. You figure out the size and the shape. As long as they can, CNC a quick pocket clip, they can't really screw that up. Now, my personal feelings on the knife overall, I love the fact that it's so different from everything else currently on the market. First off, it's a flipper only. Yes, you do have the blade window, and if you can overcome, if you can overcome the detent, then you can reverse flick it and thumb flick it. I really can't. I kind of have to pinch it and use my finger and thumb to do that. But as a flipper, it's really, really nice. Pretty fast action, pretty smooth. The overall design of the knife is what really, really attracts me. I feel that it's a good value as well. This one's sitting here at, what is it, $275. This could have easily gone to $325, $340, $350, and I don't think anybody would have had a single complaint about that. But I don't think that that's really the price points that Kaiser likes to sit at. I'm not too familiar because I don't own a Kaiser, won't own a Kaiser. But I'm pretty sure they like to stay in that $300 or a little bit below price range. As far as I understand it, there will be 200 made in the micarta and only 100 made in the purple haze. Now, you can actually place your pre-order on Sharif's website. He did build a dedicated website for sales. ms-knives.com. Now, it is a pre-order. Please do keep that in mind. The good thing is it's a fairly short pre-order. He's got it listed as 60 to 120 days from the time that the pre-order is open to the time that they actually are going to be delivered. So for those that have ordered knives and waited 3, 6, 9 months or a year on a pre-order, I think that you're going to find that rather refreshing. And he's also offering Sezzle for payment as well. So you could do a pre-order and pay as little as $68 on a Sezzle payment. So if that helps you in your knife collecting, then that's going to be a really, really great way for you to go. A lot of people don't do that on their pre-orders. They'll do that when they have live drops and things like that and live inventory. But for pre-orders, it's not overly common. There are a few people that do it, but not very many. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that, because this might be the 10th knife review you watch today, and you're making notes and lists of knives that now you feel you have to buy. And by the time you get down the list, you're like, shoot, man, I'm running out of money. I wish there was a Sezzle option available for all these pre-orders. Well, there is right here, and that's a good thing. So overall, I feel it's a great value. It feels really good in the hand. It's a wickedly cool design. Congratulations, Sharif, for coming up with something that doesn't look like every other knife on the market. The action is impressive. It feels pretty good. Oh, yeah. Pretty smooth, man. And I really, really like how it feels in the hand. This is going to be one of those knives that you will want to carry all the time. It's a great show-off piece when you're hanging out with your buddies that enjoy knives like you do. You pull this out and you show them that really nice compound grind with that deep hollow to the supported flat grind at the tip and the harpoon, and the nice satin finishes they've done on here. And you're also going to be able to actually do stuff with it as well. And you can pinch up on it and throw your finger right behind the harpoon there. You've got basically this point here and this point here that you can, cut into boxes and cut into things laying on a flat surface. That's one of the things I really like about Tanto designs, because you do have an Americanized Tanto design, because you have that extra point of contact right there. That's always nice too. I guess if I really had to nitpick anything else, it would probably be this fully vertical finish, which just kind of looks like they ground the bevels, and then instead of taking the time to do a nice horizontal or hand rub satin finish on the flats, they just took that completed blade and pushed it right up against a Scotch-Brite belt and blended everything together with a finishing belt. And I don't know, it's kind of a cheater way to do it. Not a huge fan of that, but you don't really see that all that often. So it's not like it's a major pet peeve of mine, because very few companies actually do that. That's more along the lines of what you would see like a first-year knife maker do. And you would spend a lot more money on that knife than you would be spending on this. So if you got $275 burn a hole in your pocket between now and when the pre-order closes, I really don't think you can go wrong by picking this up. It's great to see more people getting into knife designing that have really good ideas And I'm glad he was able to get this project off the ground and get this made, because I think overall it's a really, really nice package. Great design, good execution. And I'm just glad that there's somebody else out there that understands human anatomy and understands how a knife should feel in the hand. And that's the benefit for getting a design made by somebody who has collected knives for a while, and also who reviews knives as well, because they know the things they like, they know the things they don't like, and they listen to the feedback that's come in on various knives they've reviewed from their followers, from their viewers. And they know the pitfalls to avoid, and they know the very specific things to hone in on, like the lock bar cutouts and the sharpening choils and things like that. So it's very clear that Sharif pays attention to what people say, and he's integrated a lot of great small details into what I feel is an overall very impressive design. So congratulations to you, Sharif, and thank you guys as always for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.